Glasgow. Glasgow was the very first Knightmare frame that the Britannian Empire made in large numbers for combat. This machine is a 4th generation model, and you can tell it's one of the earlier designs because it's about 4 meters tall and weighs around 7 tons, which is kind of small compared to some of the later, more advanced Knightmares. It's powered by Yggdrasil drive that uses energy fillers, and its armor is made out of tungsten, a pretty strong metal. Inside, there's just enough room for one pilot in the cockpit. Glasgow was developed from an earlier prototype called the Ganymede. Glasgow became the base for a lot of other Knightmares that came after it, like the Sutherland and even the Burai, which was a copy used by the Japanese resistance. For weapons, it has 2 Harkins, which are like wired grappling hooks that can also be used to attack. It also uses an assault rifle and can be equipped with a bigger gun, a large cannon, as well as an anti-personnel machine gun for dealing with soldiers. To move around quickly, it uses land spinners. It also has a faxsphere sensor to see what's going on around it, and a cockpit ejection system to help the pilot escape if things get too dangerous. The Glasgow made a name for itself when Britannia used it to invade Japan back in 2010. These Knightmares were so much more advanced than regular tanks that Britannia easily took over Japan, which they then renamed Area 11. Sutherland. The Sutherland is a big step up from the Glasgow and becomes the main workhorse of the Britannian military after the invasion of Japan. It's a 5th generation model. Just like the Glasgow, it runs on an Yggdrasil drive with energy fillers and has tungsten armor. One of the cool things about the Sutherland is that it was designed with lessons learned from the Glasgow's combat use. They made the cockpit better for the pilot, improving comfort and safety, and they also boosted the land spinner technology. The Sutherland was also built with the idea of fighting other robots in mind, which makes sense as other countries started developing their own Knightmares. It kept the Harkins from the Glasgow, but also added some new tricks like elbow-mounted stun tonfas, which are like electrified batons for close combat. Plus, it often carries an assault rifle or a bigger giant cannon for more firepower. You might also see Sutherlands with shoulder-mounted missile launchers, Sattelwaffen, or even a long anti-KMF combat electromagnetic lance designed to melt other Knightmares. The Sutherland completely replaced the Glasgow as Britannia's main fighting unit by 2017. While later on, even more advanced Knightmares like the Gloucester and Vincent Ward came along, the Sutherland remained a reliable and common sight in the Britannian army throughout the series. Gloucester. Gloucester is a special version of the Gloucester Knightmare frame made just for Princess Cornelia di Britannia because she's a super skilled pilot and a commander. Its model number is RPI 0SC. It's different from the regular mass-produced Gloucesters. You can easily spot Cornelia's Gloucester because it looks cooler. It has 2 antenna things sticking out from the sides of its head, kind of like horns, and the armor around its waist looks fancier. This Knightmare is a 5th generation model, just like the regular Gloucester and the Sutherland, but it's been tweaked to fit Cornelia's fighting style. It has the standard stuff like 2 Harkins on its chest and a machine gun hidden in its body. But Cornelia usually uses a big jousting lance in battle, which is strong enough to pierce right through another Knightmare's cockpit. This lance even has parts that can expand to trap enemy weapons. She also uses an assault rifle when needed. Cornelia used this Gloucester in a lot of important battles in Area 11 against the Black Knights, like the big fight in Narita. Lancelot. Lancelot was the first ever 7th generation model in code Geass. That's a huge jump in technology. It's piloted by Suzaku Kururugi and was made by some smart folks named Lloyd Asplund and Cecile Crumey from the group ASI. Lancelot gets its power from a Yggdrasil drive and uses energy fillers, and its armor is made of tungsten and saccharidite. It got 4 Harkins and 2 Maser vibration swords, which are super sharp and vibrate to cut through almost anything. It also has a special gun Varus rifle that can change its power depending on the situation. For moving around, it uses land spinners for high-speed ground movement, has fax spheres to help the pilot see better, and even has blaze luminous generators which create energy shields. Because it was a prototype, it didn't even have an ejection seat at first. It was so advanced that initially no one could even handle piloting it until Suzaku came along with his skills. Gawain? Gawain is a 6th generation machine. What makes it stand out right away is its size. It's way bigger and heavier than most other Knightmares, almost 50% taller and more than twice as heavy. It's also got a 2-seater cockpit, though one person can still pilot it. You might notice it doesn't seem to have the usual fax spheres for sensors or an obvious ejection system. The Gawain was developed by the Zevon family and was so advanced it helped Britannia create other Knightmares like the Gareth and Galahad. It's the first Knightmare ever to have a built-in float system, letting it fly without needing extra equipment. It also has these powerful hadron cannons on its shoulders that can shoot really destructive energy beams over long distances. When it first appears, these cannons are a bit wild and don't fire properly until Rakshata Chawla from the Black Knights fixes them using her Gefjun disturber technology. This also gives the Gawain a stealth feature, making it invisible to radar. Another interesting piece of tech on the Gawain is the Druid system, a supercomputer that was originally meant to study some mysterious ruins. This system helps the pilot analyze enemy movements. Even with all this power, the Gawain isn't the fastest machine around and can be outmaneuvered by smaller, quicker Knightmares. Burai. Burai is basically a remodeled version of the Britannia in Glasgow. The Kyoto House, a group of Japanese industrialists secretly helping the resistance, built it. So, even though Japan was taken over by Britannia, some people still wanted to fight back, and the Burai became their main nightmare for a while, especially for the Black Knights. Now, the Burai looks pretty similar to the Glasgow, but it has some cool changes that give it a bit of a Japanese style. It's got this samurai-looking head with sharp horns, kind of like a Japanese demon, and it has hand protectors, which are like small shields on its wrists to help block attacks. What's interesting is that the Burai's colors would change depending on who was piloting it. The Japanese Liberation Front used green ones, while the Black Knights usually had gray ones with some brown on them. Kallen Kozuki had her own red Burai, which was probably upgraded from her red Glasgow. And Zero, the leader of the Black Knights, had a special Burai with a red head and golden horns. Burai uses a lot of the same stuff as Glasgow, like an assault rifle with a grenade launcher and a big giant cannon. It also has slash Harkins on its chest. One unique thing about the Burai is that it has missile launchers on its wrists that can fire up to 8 missiles. Guren Type-02. Guren Type-02, also known as the Guren Mech-2. It's special because it was designed by an Indian engineer named Rakshata Chawla and built by the Kyoto House in Japan. It's totally different from the Knightmares that the Britannian Empire uses. In fact, the people who made it were really proud that its technology was as good as most 7th generation Knightmares. The only one of these ever made belongs to the Black Knights and is piloted by Kallen Kozuki. One of the first things you might notice is that the Guren doesn't seem to have the usual fact-sphere sensor that other Knightmares rely on to see what's around them. Also, its land spinners are built right into its legs instead of just being attached to the sides of the feet. The cockpit is also different. Instead of a regular seat, the pilot sits on something that looks like a motorbike seat with all the controls right in front. When it's not being used, the Guren's head even folds down into its chest. The Guren's main weapon is its right hand, which is silver and has sharp claws. This hand can even extend out from the elbow for surprise attacks. Inside the palm is the awesome Radiant Wave Surger, which shoots out powerful microwave radiation. If the Guren grabs another Knightmare with this hand and uses the Surger, it can fry all the electronics and basically melt the other machine, making it completely unusable and often trapping the pilot. It can even use these radiation waves to defend itself by blocking enemy weapons and bullets. Guren also has a small fork knife, a machine gun on its left arm, and a single slash Harkin on the left side of its chest. This Knightmare is super fast and strong, able to go toe-to-toe with even Lancelot. Gekka. The Gekka is used by the Black Knights and was designed at the Jabalpur Research Center. It's a high-end model that's roughly on par with 7th generation tech. That's a big deal because most of Britannia's units at the time, like the Sutherland and Gloucester, were already considered strong, but the Gekka topped them. Even though it was meant to be mass-produced, only 5 were ever made, and each one ended up in the hands of the elite 4 holy swords and their leader, Kiyoshiro Todo. These units came from the Guren Type-02 and Gekka prototype, and eventually led to the Akatsuki line. Gekka uses a Yggdrasil drive powered by an energy filler, and its armor is made from tungsten. It's got a unique cockpit with a motorcycle-style seat, a solid ejection system for emergencies, and land spinners for fast ground movement. One cool feature is the chaff smoke system built into its back. It can launch both chaff and smoke to mess with enemy tracking systems or give cover for a quick getaway. In terms of weapons, the Gekka doesn't mess around. Its main weapon is the Katen Yaibatsu, a long heated chainsword designed to slice through other Knightmares. While it's not as high-end as Britannia's MVS swords, it's still powerful. It also has a slash Harkin for grappling or attacking, mounted on its chest, and a custom handgun on the left arm. In some missions, it's seen with optional gear like a second handgun or a rocket launcher. Lancelot Albion. The Lancelot Albion is a top-tier Knightmare frame built specifically for Suzaku Kururugi after he became the Knight of Zero under Emperor Lelouch. It's a 9th generation model created by the Camelot Research Group, and it's basically the final evolution of the original Lancelot line. It replaced the Lancelot Conquista after that unit got wrecked during the Second Battle of Tokyo. The Albion is one of the most advanced machines in the series. One of its flashiest features is the energy wing system. These glowing wings aren't just for show. They let it fly at super high speeds, leave behind after images to confuse enemies, and can even attack by releasing energy particles. On top of that, the wings act as shields. This is a big step up from the older float system. It also keeps the Blaze Luminous system, a high-tech energy shield that covers both defense and offense, especially in the arms and legs. Combined with the land spinners and slash harkens, the Albion can scale walls, dodge at crazy angles, and strike fast. Its weapons are no joke either. It carries 2 Super VRIS rifles, which are a big upgrade over the originals. These guns have 3 modes: a standard shot, a powerful hadron beam, and a full burst that just wrecks everything in sight. The Albion also carries 2 MVS, Master Vibration Swords, which can cut through other Knightmares with ease. It even has 4 slash harkens, 2 on the arms and 2 on the hips. The Albion had a packed battle record. It debuted during the rebellion against Lelouch, and it wiped the floor with the Knights of the Round, except Gino. Later, it helped Lelouch kidnap the UFN leaders and fought in the final war above Mount Fuji. Suzaku faced off against Todo in that fight and completely overwhelmed him. Then, during the battle aboard the Damocles Fortress, it worked with Lelouch's Shinkiro to stop a F-Lee IJA warhead. Its final battle was a one-on-one with Kallen's Guren. Both machines pushed each other to the limit. Albion's Blaze Luminous ran out of energy, and Guren's Radiant Wave Surger lost its ammo. In the end, both were badly damaged, and the Lancelot Albion was destroyed in a final explosion.